Hi everyone. Um, Great resignation. Uh, this was a topic a lot of people wanted me to speak about, but I didn't speak about it earlier because I wanted basically to understand by the data. Because sometimes there can be a thing which is exactly happening elsewhere and has a different type of reasons, and based on that, have that. So after a long span of time, and it has been going for a long span of time, and a lot of people are talking about it, and some of them also told me to have my own thought process about the great resignation and make a video out of it. So here I am, the talks, making a video on great resignation. So first of all, great resignation or great reshuffle, whatever you say about it, what exactly are we are talking about it? So it's basically, there are certain industries and there are certain places where, and not only certain places, it's normal that people leave a place after a long span of time and go to another place, but that's go on time. But when this number of people leaving one place to another place in terms of job perspective increases in magnitude over a small span of time, we use those phases as being said right now, great resignation, and lots of number of people are leaving it. If you go by the US data, it started there, the numbers are huge. And if you ask the CEOs, the greatest problem right now which is happening in the business world is about retaining talent, about getting the talent. So-called talent war is happening now. Am I here to talk about what is great resignation? Not really. I'm here to understand what is exactly causing this great resignation, or so-called, what according to me, I can be wrong, I'm not, like, this is my thought process which says what exactly is happening. So when we try to go towards a root cause of certain things, it is first, I always use this word, and I have heard it, that always use the first principle thought process theory and break it down and have a and try to find the problem and have a solution to it, which is totally different. So let's break the problem. One, before we go try to find the root cause of it and what basically is causing this, and also trying to find a solution out of it, and trying to see what exactly what we can do. Uh, let's first discuss two things which, if you're aware of, that's good, but if you're not, so there are two things when we talk about uh, in the when we are doing about anything in life. It is, one is motivation and one is hygiene. Now what is basically a motivation? So motivation are those things which are a little bit qualitative in nature. So basically you can be talking about, if you talk from a job perspective, it can be about the working culture, it can be about the type of work, it can be about the work life balance. Hygiene factor, on the other hand, it's more related to the salary, or rather I would say what you're exactly getting, the money part of that, which is a little bit quantitative in perspective. So when we are talking about the great resignation, let us see what, so whenever any action happens, there has to have a trigger point to it. When it's happening a mass action, you need to understand the trigger point of it. What exactly happened that had this? There is lots of theories and school of thoughts. One of the school of thought which I thought about, that COVID-19 was a time which was a changer for us. We realized that before that we were just living a part of the race and trying to do things and thinking about that we will do it later. Now what happened is COVID-19 taught us one thing, that life is short and unpredictable. These types of cues, or rather those things, triggered certain thought processes within people who need to understand of taking care of themselves, keeping their priorities in order to have a proper balanced life. So in a word, you can understand that that was the beginning of the trigger point of the so-called great resignation. Now what happens is, whenever there are certain group of people who wants to take the decision, but it's basically they need a validation. We say that as a social proof theory. Now what happened when they saw there's a group of people going, that triggered them, and as a base of the social proof, they also started doing that. Now this is the trigger behind that. Now, how this trigger changed into the huge mass is a bigger question. The bigger question is, there was long span of time, there were the whole concept of work-life balance, and those things were not talked about, were not taken seriously. This caused COVID-19 actually caused a lot of, when you are, you say when you are in isolation, you start thinking about a lot of things. So COVID-19, what it did was it let you understand about your own mental well-being, your physical well-being, which is to a certain extent a lot of included towards the motivational factor. Now, what happened is, and slowly and steadily people started prioritizing. It basically happened that there were lots and lots of people in the market. Now, with the number of people in the market, good people in the market, one of the things what happens is, when you basically start looking outside, that when you take a decision, the first point of taking the decision is hygiene factor is the most important decision, with the basis of which you try to decide basically whether you want to go over. So salary was an important point when people started paying more and more. So person applies somewhere else because of the more salary factor. The person goes to the last decision of taking the decision is basically more or less towards how the work culture is. So you can say this is a combination of your hygiene factor and your motivational factor to understand how people join your organization. Now, the discussion of this video is not about how you hire new talent. The discussion of this video is more specifically related to how you can retain people. Now, before you understand and build your strategy about how to retain people, you need to understand what is exactly triggering the corresponding thought process in people. The main problem with this great resignation is it's not about those people. There's not number is less. It's increasing day by day. And as more and more opportunities open, this will basically increase manifold. And if the prediction goes away, 2020 to 2023 are the most important years where this transition and reshuffle will take place. Now, how do you want to solve that? The problem is, every problem has a solution which we need to go deep down. It's not something in silo, or rather it's not something a common man one problem sits together. But if you want to generalize this problem, one thing more important which you need to understand is, people need to communicate and understand. And that's the more important phase, where we need leaders who exactly understands the very few people who actually communicates with other. Problem is, we assume a lot. We feel that we know what exactly the other person wants. It has to be a little bit personalized. I feel this time a lot of decisions are being taken on a emotional perspective. If I talk with a lot of people, I've realized the four type of emotion which is driving this is basically respect, value, I would say self-esteem, and another thing which is basically proving yourself attributable to the whole society. So in a word, if I see the majority of the emotion which is respect and value, the employees are not feeling valued enough. You can understand how do you give the value. The problem is, when we assume that the person wants to do that, we assume that the person wants to do. We don't talk openly. So the first important thing, you need to understand, you could communicate, and you have to make the person feel that you are valued. You have to make them understand that we are listening to you. Instead of telling them this you should do, you need to understand what you exactly want to do. The things are changing. Now, when you communicate, what you do is, you need to have people who basically understand the importance of that, who understand that it is not like he or she knows it all. You need to have that change in the thought process of the leadership, where you need to understand that it's not like that, like I know it all. The maximum number of people I've seen who, before starting a conversation, he assumes and he thinks like he or she knows it all. And you need to change that thought process. You need to understand what everybody has different aspirations to the fact. Now, you need to make people motivated about that and make them understand different people want different thing, and you need to give them. If you don't give them, the problem is, if you don't solve this problem thinking from a different perspective, always remember, it takes 10 to 15 times more cost to get a new employee to fill that more position rather than retaining that old employee and giving them opportunities and do it. So if you ask me and if you tell me what are my thought processes related to the Great Resignation, it's been a long video because this is a problem which I want, and we'll make a part of this video again also, is basically understand what basically your people want, value them, talk with them, have those people talk with them, having the mindset who really wants to serve people, who really want to help them. Then there will be a change, and that's the reason why there's suddenly a huge hiring of in leadership positions, a lot of people, because we need people who understands people. The people relationship skills matters a lot. You need to value them, and then and only people will stay. And next part is you need to take care of the motivational part and also have an hygiene factor, which I say related to salary. Have this the strategy should not be in isolation. You have to combine them and give them in a personalized way, which actually helps them, or else the problem is good people will start leaving the organization, and after that it's easy to fill up them. But if we could have helped a little bit, we could have stopped it. So hi, this is the talks. This video is a little bit long enough because this topic is also, if you like it, please subscribe to my videos. I'll make a because it's the first video about it, I'll make a more detailed video about it maybe in the next phases or something. But till then, give it a thought about this, and maybe we can discuss about what exactly is happening. So thank you, have a great weekend, and enjoy. Thank you.